Get informed on the website, environmental footprint, home energy audit, who killed the electric car, start a worm composting system, inconvenient truth, carbon offsets. There's so many things you can do. Pick one and do it, and then do the next one, and then do the next one. Yay, he's finishing up. You're all really happy, right? Because you're tired of hearing me talk, and I do want to hear your questions. Very quick question, totally off subject just because I'm random. Anybody know who the first president of the United States was? Anybody think it's anything other than George Washington? Okay, the first president of the United States, and you can look this up, was a man named John Hanson. George Washington was the first president of the United States under our present Constitution, which was signed in 1793. 1776 was the Declaration of Independence. Who was driving the bus in between then? It was 5, and I may be wrong, 7 presidents, the first of which was John Hanson. I'm not telling you that because you can go in and like stump your professor, which you should, by the way. But I'm telling you that because there are certain truths that we all say, oh, well, it's George Washington. And it's not necessarily. You don't need to have your house hooked up to the grid. You don't need to buy plastic. You don't need to drink out of bottles. You don't need to do all these things if you start to think about it and be critical about it and say, does this make sense to me? Anybody know who Philo T. Farnsworth is? Wow, no one. Who was he? He invented the TV, Philo T. Farnsworth. Let's give him a big round of applause because we all love TV, right? Yay, Philo! And I say for Andrew that Aaron Sorkin has also written a really fantastic Broadway play. If you ever get to see it, it's great. But Philo invented television. He changed the world. Anybody know? Do you know, sir, how old he was when he invented television in 1907? Sorry? He may have been 26 when he actually made it, but when he came up with the concept, he was 13 in 1907. The reason I bring up Philo, besides the fact that he has a really cool name, and I'm still upset that my wife wouldn't let me name either of our daughters Philo, is because you're in this unbelievable university. You've got these incredible minds. You've got the internet. You've got these incredible professors. You get a lot more than a 13-year-old kid on a tractor in Idaho in 1907 who nobody understood, and he changed the world. You have the ability to change the world, and I would say one thing more than that. I charge you to change the world because this is your problem, and this is my 6-year-old daughter's problem and my 3-year-old daughter's problem, and it's going to be there a lot longer than you, and it's going to be a lot longer than me. But I hope that 7 generations from now, they're going to wake up and say, wow, I'm glad they did something, rather than waking up and saying, why didn't they do something? Noted philosopher Neil Peart once wrote, I knew I'd get one laugh out of that, and I knew who it would be. Anybody know who Neil Peart is? He's the best drummer in the world for a band called Rush, who I don't know if anybody listens to anymore. He once wrote, if you choose not to decide, you still have made a choice. So I've told you a lot of stuff today. If you believe it, then you got to do something about it. If you don't believe it, then go check out the website, go check out books, go check out anything you want. And when you figure out that I'm wrong, do me a favor and call me up, because I don't want to give this seminar anymore. I want to drive my truck. But I don't have anymore, but I think I know where the guy I sold it to is. But I don't want to do that. So my point is, you know about bottled water now. You want to drink bottled water? That's fine, but don't kid yourself. You're making a choice. You ignore this stuff, you're making a choice. And it's not only the stuff that I talked about today, it's all of it. You're smart people. You read, you know what's going on, be informed. I'm going to leave you on one final really good note that I think is really good, and then I'd love to hear your questions, and I may sing if enough people stay around. That pesky 25 terawatts that we keep on coming around to, it really depresses me and just drives me nuts. Well, let's take the planet, and I have to thank my friend Harry for doing this graphic. I can't take responsibility for it. If you had the ability to cover the entire planet with solar panels, okay? We can't do it, but just stick with me here for a minute. It would take 2 hours of one day of 1 year to generate 25 terawatts of power. If you did half of it, it would take 4. If you did a quarter of it, it would take 8. I think you see where I'm going with this. 100 square miles, and this has been mathematically proven, of solar panels in the Nevada desert, in whatever desert you want in the United States, will give us all the power that we need, and nobody needs to go into a mine in Utah and dig out coal for $15 an hour. I want to see that. Everybody says, what's going to happen at night? 20 terawatts of power 20 terawatts of energy hit the Earth every single night from the moon, which is really sun. So my question is, what are we waiting for? Live sustainably. Thank you for listening. This is the website. Thank you.
I think in addition to learning a lot about the kinds of lives we should try to start living, we can imagine Dave riding across the country on that bicycle. with a massive
I look goofier.
acceleration at the end.
By the way, if anybody wants to come up and look at this firsthand, you're more than welcome to. It's pretty shocking. Just don't drop it,
Before we
please.
do that, we'll give maybe 3 minutes for those who want to leave. By the way, I've never seen an audience so behaved and so attentive for an hour and a half. So.
Wow. That wasn't an hour and a half, was it? But it only seemed like an hour and 22 minutes, didn't it? Thank you very much for coming.